this edition of Road Warrior. I'm your host, Grant Roberson. Now, lately we've been behind the wheel of a full-size truck, full-size SUVs, and of course those small little hatchbacks. Now, one thing we haven't actually visited in a while is the sport wagon, so I'm actually excited to get behind the wheel of the 2015 Volvo V60. Now, the best thing about these new wagons is they've gone to the nice aerodynamic sport design, far from the opening scene of ET. Now, once you climb inside the V60, the first thing you're going to really notice is the sedan-like qualities on the inside. Most notable is the seating. Now, what I notice on these is it's really nothing to deal with station wagons at all. It's actually very sported, very sculpted, and it really has some kind of side harnesses that really kind of envelop you. Now, the best thing about it, these do have heated seats here. There are a 3-level system, a low, medium, high, and it really just delivers comfort, especially with that leather. Combining it with that heating element really just takes it to a whole nother level. Now, the original design to the station wagon was, of course, those straight lines and that box appeal, and that's all we really knew back in those decades. But come to the current realm of what we've got, we're going with something a little bit different called the sport wagon. Now, BMW has done this very well, Volvo just the same, and what they have done is really mimicking, of course, the nice styling lines of their sedan, having a nice sleek front like we have here, and as it sweeps down, this is where you're getting the sport wagon-like look. Low roof line, nice sleek design, and of course this is something that a lot of people can go to that are looking for the family's type of course, vehicle and a little bit of extra cargo space. Now, we talked about the innovations earlier. Another one we need to mention is, of course, right here in the cockpit area. Now, most notable is that front LCD screen right front and center. Now, it's in a little niche, and one thing to note is it's not touch screen, so you can't really reach out there and do any type of kind of interaction with the screen. You actually do it with all the buttons down below. Now, as you sweep down, this is kind of stereotypical. We've seen this over the years with Volvo, so nothing's really changed here. Very simple designs. If you're used to touchscreen, maybe this is a little bit different. Now, what I do like, of course, is the climate controls. It has that diagram, really allows you just to simplify the whole operation of the whole system. Now, this is dual climate here, so you can obviously dial in the comfort of both passengers up front. Now, right here in the middle, of course, is the 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, it does have a manual-like sport mode where you shift over to the left and kind of obviously shift gears on the fly. As always, I go with the standard drive mode because I really just think it delivers it just fine. Now, look at the profile design. This is again where those sedan stylings are going to come into play, those sweeping lines. Now, by the numbers, this vehicle is going to measure at about 182 inches, so it's going to fall in kind of that mid-size sedan market, of course. But what sedans don't offer is, of course, rear cargo. And what's even better with a wagon like this, and something it truly offers, is that sport-like appeal. Now, we'll get into the power plant in a minute, but really the response, the aerodynamics, and just the overall look of a vehicle like this really just doesn't even look like a wagon. It's really kind of course, more sportish, a little bit more pizzazz. And this is what you expect, of course, of current evolutions of vehicles. You want it to be that BMW-like. You want it to be a Volvo like this. So you want the best of both worlds, of course, sedan and that wagon appeal. Now, when we talk about legroom numbers, one thing we always think about, of course, is the front seat passengers, because that's most important. Now, in this vehicle, it's going to be average around about 42 inches, so plenty of room up front. Now, when you swing around to the back seat, that's where you really want to crunch the numbers. Now, in a vehicle like this, you're going to average typically 35 inches. Now, we fall just a little bit short of that here on the V60 at about 33 inches. Now, what that translates to a person like me at about 6 foot tall is it's a little bit cramped. Now, I'll find that the leg room is all right, and typically your knees are actually going to bleed here on the back of the seat backs, but what they've done, they've actually created a little bit of a niche here in the design, allowing a little bit of breathing room where otherwise 33 inches just doesn't deliver it. So I like the fact that we kind of have just enough leg room. It wouldn't have hurt to try to squeeze out just a hair more. Now, obviously, the Volvo delivers sport on the outside with this exterior, but you've got to deliver sport under the hood because no one really wants the true dynamic of a station wagon. Now, Volvo does that quite well with a turbocharged engine, more specifically a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine that delivers about 240 horses and 258 foot-pounds of torque. Now, obviously, it means we had plenty of oomph to get off the line and really turns this grocery go-getter into kind of a sport wagon that it's supposed to be. Now, one thing it did have that we were surprised was a stop-start technology. Basically, anytime you came to a complete stop, had your foot on the brake, it shut the engine down. RPMs went to 0, and fuel economy, was at the best. Now, that's something to get used to when you're on the highway, because when it shuts down in stop-and-go traffic, you just hope it cranks back up. Now, it's obviously not a problem, but something that does take just a hair getting used to. Now, last but not least is the cargo transitioning of any vehicle, especially when you have a wagon like this, because cargo and passengers are about equally as important. Now, we've talked about the transitions really across the board. Most vehicles are doing it quite well. Anytime you see a headrest, that usually is quite a problem because you're not going to be able to fold them down. But of course, Volvo does it quite well. They're going to flip real easy once you pull the handle, and then as you tumble it forward, it really finds its niche. Now, what's great, of course, this vehicle has kind of a tri-split rear back seat. Basically means there's 3 separate zones that you can fold these seat backs down. What's great about that is you can fold 1 down, still have room for 2. Fold 2 down, have room for 1. You get the point. And that allows you to really transform this vehicle to your cargo needs. Now, as we sweep around to the back side of this sport wagon, one thing you'll notice, of course, is that sleek design, and of course it dumps out with this wagon-like rear end. Now, one thing to note on this vehicle, it comes with 17-inch standard tires, but we have 19 options here on this vehicle. Now, one thing to note, of course, we've got body color all the way around. Just have a little hint of chrome. Something you don't want to add to a station wagon typically is blinging it out with too much chrome. It just makes it look tacky. Now, one thing to note, of course, even though this is a sport wagon, it is a grocery go-getter, they still have innovations, and one of the best features, of course, is the smart key system. Now, that, of course, gets rid of the old traditional walk up to any door, it's going to open right up. Now, as we swing around, of course, to the rear cargo, what I love about it is, of course, you access it, and it's got this nice, deep rubber mat here. It's going to really protect the carpet, and really kind of, course, turns this into that grocery go-getter, but really haul anything. Put dirty items back here. Anything that's really going to mud up the vehicle is going to be protected. Now, this is going to be average spacing for a wagon. It's going to be more than a typical sedan, and maybe just a hair less than a full-size SUV. That does it for this edition of Road Warrior on a test drive behind the wheel of the 2015 sport wagon known as the V60. Now, obviously, we've come a long way with the Volvo. We love this aerodynamic design, something we've, of course, seen over the last generation of years. But the best thing about a wagon that's kind of finding its niche once again is the ability, of course, to have that sedan-like quality, that sport under the hood, but most importantly, a little bit of extra room for those groceries. Now, again, I'd like to thank you for watching this edition of Road Warrior, and as always, keep both hands on the wheel and eyes straight ahead.